Still, we're talking about the spiritual tourism and how important it is. The idea of just traveling to visit some of the religious sites. Egypt is a hub for religious sites. We are talking about many different sites here in Egypt. Well, the idea of visiting these sites is something like just the idea of traveling through time, or sometimes when you feel that you are living a different state of mind, the peace of mind. So visiting mosques here in Egypt is something that is really very interesting to many of the holiday makers, especially those who are interested in architecture. So talking about these mosques, whenever you enter a mosque, you have many things in your mind to ask about. We're talking about the design of the mosque, we're talking about the minarets, we're talking about the dome and the architecture in general. So, for example, let me tell you something about one of the beautiful mosques here. And again, let me say it is one of my favorite mosques. One of these is the Ibn Tulun Mosque. Well, this is one of the oldest mosques and also the largest mosque in terms of land area. Over there, you will find something different, something unique that it will make it different from any other mosque, especially its minaret. So let's find out together more about this mosque in particular, and we'll be back to tell you more about Egypt and more about the spiritual tourism in Egypt.
I'm moving on to find out more about some amazing mosques here in Egypt, whether we are talking about the oldest mosques or the largest mosques. Ibn Tulun is not only the oldest mosque in Cairo in its original form, but also the largest. It also has one of the very few minarets in the world, where the staircase is on the outside and lends to stunning views of the city. Ahmad ibn Tulun was born around 835 AD. He was one of the Turkish commanders in Samarra, located in Iraq. He received his military and theological training in Samarra and Tarsus. Ahmad ibn Tulun founded a new capital, Al-Qata'a, around the hill of Jabal Yashkur or Yashkur Mount to the northeast of Al-Fustat. And the site chosen for his mosque was a rock outcropping called Jabal Yashkur or Yashkur Mountain.
So, first, I would like you to tell me more about your tour here in Egypt.
Yes. So we arrived yesterday. No, 2 days ago we arrived by the airplane, and yesterday we started our tour in Cairo. So we went to the pyramids, we went to the Sphinx, we had lovely explanations about the history of Egypt. Afterwards, we went to the Egyptian Museum, which was also very interesting to see the mummies and all the ancient relicts. And today we came to the mosque, had an explanation about Islam, what the principles are of Islam, and we'll have a look at the other sides of Cairo.
First, let me ask you, from where do you come?
We're from Germany, from Munich.
So you visited the pyramids. Basically, one of the most interesting signs. Usually, it is a dream to anyone to stop by the pyramids. Tell me more about your feelings and more about what you have in mind about that place.
Well, it's amazing what has been built and what has been accomplished by the people about 4,000 years ago, or even earlier, and it was just astonishing to see how big it is and how massive it is. And we also went inside, so it's you kind of get a feeling of how it must have been back in the days.
You got the chance to be inside the pyramid, right?
Yes, exactly. We went inside. It was about 20 minutes walk downwards, and then you're in the big chamber, and it's basically a lot of stone, but it's incredibly interesting to be in there. Yeah.
What about the museum?
The museum, it was still the old Egyptian museum. It was also very interesting. You had a lot of things to look at and a lot of ancient items, and I think you could spend at least a month if you look at everything in detail, but we only had 1.5 hours, which still was enough. Also very interesting site to visit.
Usually, when we talk about Germans in general, and you mentioned to your friends that you're coming to spend some few days here in Egypt, tell me more about their impression and what you have in mind about Egypt. Are you more interested in cultural, history, recreational? Tell us more.
Well, we are interested in visiting the sites, but also visiting the real Egypt, or the real Cairo. So we also want to see how the people live, what the people eat in the streets, what they do for work, what they do for life. So we are interested in basically everything that Egypt has to offer, which is a broad variety of history and interesting culture in our days.
Sometimes we say that when you would like, if you want to learn more about a country, for example, I'm talking about tourism, it's very, very important to be in real contact with people themselves.
Yes, exactly. That's what we are. That's what we are looking for in Egypt. I think that's also possible in Egypt because the people are in general very, very friendly. It's easy to approach them, and they always kind of welcome you with a smile. So that's quite nice, and it's easy to get in contact with them. It's not all perfect in Egypt, I guess. It's not all very clean. It's not all organized, but that's maybe also what makes Egypt also in some kind special and interesting to especially Europeans, where it's maybe different all the time.
So tell me more about the citadel. How do you see the citadel?
The citadel is very interesting. We didn't expect it to be so empty in terms of tourists. We thought it would be also quite crowded, but it's very very relaxing, and it's a huge building. It's interesting. We sat here.
Usually it is very crowded, but I think you are lucky today. It's a little bit less, so you have the chance to move all around.
Yeah, that's very good. So we had the chance to sit here just in front of inside the mosque and get explained the details about Islam. So that's also a special how you say, a special atmosphere to talk about Islam, not in somewhere in a car, but really where it happens, and also where maybe it's possible to hear now the prayer being told. Yeah.
This mosque is not only the oldest intact functioning Islamic site in Cairo, but it's also the third mosque to be constructed for the entire community, and the congregation will join together for the noon prayer every Friday. One can also say that this mosque was a rare, preserved example of the art and the architecture of the classical period of Islam. Its landscape is really huge. It is one of the biggest mosques in Egypt. The mosque together with the extra empty space between the mosque and the surrounding buffer wall, occupies an area of 6.5 acres. The general design features an open court or central square that we call it in Arabic sahr, that is about 92 meters, surrounded by 4 riwaqs. The riwaq of the Qibla contains 5 arcades, while each of the other riwaqs consisting of 2 arcades. The mosque is surrounded by extensions on 3 sides. It is a space meant to separate the mosque from the markets in order to protect the mosque and the prayers from the noise of the street. It has 19 doors on 3 sides, each corresponding to another door in this space, and there are another 3 doors cut into the Qibla's wall. The lintels are composed of palm trunks, boxed with wood and arch above. Some of these doors still retain their original carvings.
So tell me more about your visit to Egypt.
So we arrived 2 days ago. We came with the airplane and we stay at a hotel close to the pyramids of Gizeh. And it's our second day here today. We're visiting the mosque. Yesterday we have been to the pyramids, the Sphinx, and to the Egyptian Museum. Yeah.
From where do you come?
We are from Germany, from Munich. That's in the south of Germany.
Have you been to Egypt before?
Yes, I've been to Egypt before, 2 times, I guess. Yes, in El Gouna, but never before in Cairo. So that's my first time in Cairo today.
So being in El Gouna and the Red Sea, tell me more about your feelings over there and how far did you like the place?
Oh, I love the place. It's a very beautiful place to be there, especially for kite surfing, also diving. So you can do there a lot of activities, and it's very nice. We always enjoy it a lot.
Do you dive?
Yes, I dive. Yes.
Wow, tell me more about the experience.
So to be honest, I've never been diving in the Red Sea, but I've learned it in Thailand. So this time, next week, I will dive in the Red Sea the first time, also in El Gouna. So I'm very excited about it.
So talking about Cairo and about the sites that you visited, you started as usual. We start with the pyramids and the Sphinx. How did you see this?
That's impressive. So what the people did in the past, that's just amazing. I've also been in the pyramids. That was
Was it easy?
exciting. Yeah, it was kind of. You have to be a little bit of sporty because it's exhausting to get there, and also the air is kind of humid and very dry. So yeah, it was very exhausting, but we managed to do it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you this.
Yes, it is worth it. So I would recommend everyone to go there and also go inside the pyramids.
You stopped by the Sphinx as well, right?
Yes, we stopped there as well. Yeah.
So, do you have anything in mind about the Sphinx and about the design itself?
It's beautiful. I don't know. It's huge. I didn't expect it to be that huge, and it was built out of a stone that was already there. So the people, yeah, did amazing art.
Sometimes we say that it is usually the symbol of power.
Yes, the symbol of power. Yes, yes, you can see that because of its size and yeah, the huge stone. I mean, that's power. Yeah.
Tell me more about visiting the citadel here. The citadel actually is rich with many, many different places inside. Whether we're talking about mosques, we are talking about the landscape, we're talking also about museums as well. So, what do you have in mind about the citadel?
I have it in mind as a very spiritual place. It's very relaxing to be here compared to the crowded city of Cairo. So I really enjoy the quietness and just be here and look around. Yeah, that's what I didn't expect it to be that quiet.
How do you see the concept of the spiritual tourism? Is it different? Is it something really that can change the state of mind? Tell me more what you have in mind about it.
It definitely can change the mind. I'm kind of impressed that people really live the religious principles here in Egypt, like the praying 5 times a day, coming together with a family here in these places. So I think that's a very good thing. Yeah.
So, talking about other sites here in Egypt in general, do you have a place in mind that you would love to visit?
I would love to visit the bazaar. I don't know it's
Maybe Khan el Khaliliya?
yes, exactly this one. I would love to yeah, get to know people, to get to know the food, to get to know the stuff they are producing there and also selling there. So that is a place I definitely want to visit within the next 2 days.
So, what are you going to tell your friends in Germany about your visit to Egypt?
I will tell them to definitely go there because of the kind people, the good food, and of course because of the city Cairo. I think it's a very exciting trip here. You can do a lot of things, and yeah, it's just an enjoyable time here. So I would definitely recommend it to everyone at home.
The foundation slate resides on the right-hand central pier on the third arcade from the Sahr. It includes the foundation inscription, a rectangular slab of marble written in Kufic inscriptions containing some verses of the Holy Quran. Both the walls of the mosque and the empty space are crowned with crenulations similar to those childhood paper cut out depicting human figures with linked arms. Its courtyard is squared in shape, with each side measuring about 92 meters. The original courtyard was not paved and filled with pebbles, as it is today, because this space was intended for prayers. The Fawara in the middle of the Sahn was the third one created, after the first two were destroyed. The first one was the original, built by Ahmad ibn Tulun. It was gilded and stood on 10 columns of marble. The second one was also destroyed, and the current one was built by Sultan al-Mansuri, who also constructed other areas of the mosque. It stands 20 meters in height. The arcades around the courtyard are deeper in the Qibla Riwaq, or the sanctuary side, are formed by pointed arches. Beautiful rosettes and windows form a line of continuous and simple decoration. These arcades are supported by piers, and unlike columns, these piers are rectangular and decorated with four-sided masonry designs. Their capitals have the same bell shape as the bases, and both are plastered and carved. Originally, it appeared that all of the arcades had soffits of curved stucco similar to those restored in the southern arcade. Even the arches are unique. They are pointed and outlined with an edge of carved stucco and spring from oblong supports rounded at the corners by pilasters or engaged columns. This gorgeous sanctuary includes 5 aisles deeper than the others, which are parallel to the prayer niche or the mihrab, and the other riwaq includes just 2 aisles. The main mihrab is in the middle of the Qibla wall. It is the tallest and the only concave one. The others are flat. The first consists of double-pointed arched recesses. Byzantine-style marble columns amaze the eye, adorned with their basket-work capitals. Its stucco molding and the 2 stucco bosses on each side of the arch are original. Even the ceiling of Ahmad ibn Tulun Mosque is really beautiful, as it is composed of palm logs constructed in wooden panels. Below the ceiling there is a long band with a beautiful inscription carved on sycamore wood, which runs around the whole mosque and contains verses from the Holy Quran. The upper part of the mosque wall is pierced with pointed arch windows and flanked with colonnades. The windows alternate on the outside wall within blind niches adorned with shell conches. There are 128 windows arranged independent of the arches, so that not every arch has a centered window. These arched windows were created to provide light and reduce the weight carried by the arches. The historian crest wall attributes only 4 of the window stucco grills to the Ptolemaic period, those of the plain geometrical design. According to him, the rest display a large variety of more complicated geometrical patterns that date back to the Fatimid and the Mamluk periods. The minaret also is really impressive. It stands on the north side of the ziyada, or the empty space, where a door leads to an unusual stone structure that holds an outer staircase in the Mamluk style top known as Mabkhara.
So just as we mentioned, it is very important to take a look at the minaret, about the dome, about the design or the architecture. It might look the same, but it is not. It is different. Each mosque is different and each mosque is interesting on its own. That was all for now, but we will be back and we have many things to tell you more about Egypt and more about the spiritual tourism in Egypt.